I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I'm excited about my next guest, Trevis Michelle. We actually were connected through Ayana Mills Gallo. So I'm excited to have Trevis here today because she is going to get into some topics about being a best-selling author, how to build Facebook groups, some of all this stuff that we already are trying to aspire to do as we position ourselves for 2021. But before we get into that, we're going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself before we get into the interview.
Hi, everyone. You know what? Thank you so much, Michelle, for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. And, being a new number one international bestselling author, it comes with a lot of different nuances. And I am learning quick on my feet, let me tell you. But the most important thing about me to know that is that I'm a registered nurse. I'm pivoting um, to being an author and a Black woman empowerment builder. And I guess you say, what is a Black woman empowerment builder? Because people talk
Hey.
about motivating. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to do something to stand out from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to teach Black women to take those thoughts that are in their head and
Mm-hmm.
put them on paper. It doesn't mean you have to become an author, although you never know what may happen. But if you at least declutter your brain, it
Mm-hmm.
allows you to grow, to be creative, to heal, to forgive. And when you're putting it on paper, I always share you need to have a pro and a cons list. And with that cons list, you're going to put down all of the things that you don't like about yourself, that other people said about you, your traumas, whether you were fired, whatever those things you see as negative, just do bullet points. I don't want you to, you have time for journaling, but first just do the bullet points so you get them out of your head. Then you can do your journaling later. But once you've tackled each one at a time, I want you to then burn it, bury it, or shred it.
I love
Over,
that.
yes, and over on your prose side, put all the things that you like about yourself, all the things people say about you, whatever it is that you do good, and put your manifestations down there. Where do you see yourself? What would you like to have? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And then I need you to read it every day, because guess what? Now you have your own affirmations. Now I do need you to text pearls to 21,000 so I can send you some. But it's also important that our affirmations are specific to us. And I think that's part of our healing process. At least it has been for me.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And, this is so good. I love how you have your own term to set yourself apart. And I think this is key. What was it that really sparked you to have that type of word that was associated with you? How is it that you came up with that thought process?
Well, I have a business coach, and she's King Ashley Ann. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of her, they call it the monetization nation. So I'm part of her kingdom. And she teaches you, how are you going to stand out in these streets?
Mm-hmm.
Why should someone listen to you? What do you have to offer that everybody else doesn't have? It's okay that the market seems saturated because everybody wants to do empowerment, everybody wants to be motivational. But what is different about you? And in her saying that, we brainstormed and that's what we came up with. So
Mm.
I am a Black woman empowerment builder, because after our civil unrest has come to the surface, because it's always been there, right? But
Mm-hmm.
now that it's like we're free to say, yes, I'm speaking to Black women, instead of, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to offend anybody. No, well, how about not offend us? We have value too. Now, everybody is welcome. Caucasian, Asian, everybody is welcome. But I specifically am speaking to Black women because I am a Black woman and I know our
Mm.
struggles. Now, I don't know everything, but I've been through enough. I have enough girlfriends that, are raised by my grandparents and her friends. Our circumstances are a little different.
Mm. I get that. Okay, that's awesome. And so I love the way that we talk about the manifestations, okay? Because this is good. People miss that part because they say, oh, I want something new for 2021. This 2020, I mean, I just want to forget about it. I want to move forward. but they miss the element of the manifestation. And you've even gone as far
Right.
as to say that it's your own affirmation. So talk to us about why a manifestation is different than just positive thinking or wanting something better. Talk to us about that.
Okay. Well, you've heard of the term, you'd be hoping on hope. I
Mm-hmm.
hope I get this job. You've already put blocks in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind is very, very strong. Our words they can break a person, they
Mm-hmm.
can heal a person,
Mm-hmm.
they can encourage a person. So while you're busy doing that for others, why shouldn't you be doing that for yourself? You have to see. That's one thing my grandparents always taught me. You have to see where you want to go. You may not know how you're going to get there, but you have to see it. And when
Mm-hmm.
you see it, you're working towards it. You're just chipping away. You just keep
Mm-hmm.
chipping away at it until you get there. I knew that at some point in my life, I wanted to write a book. God said,
Mm-hmm.
now. I didn't know it
Mm-hmm.
was going to be now, but I still have manifested that. I manifested that I am going to be a speaker all over the world. My voice will be
Mm-hmm.
heard internationally, not
Mm-hmm.
just locally, not just
Mm-hmm.
on, in the, nationally. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to already see it. When I was growing up and I had traumas that occurred to, happened in my life, one of the ways that I got out of it, besides God, having Him,
Mm-hmm.
was the fact, and my grandparents, I saw myself doing better. I saw where I wanted to be. And then I
Mm-hmm.
had to then just put the work in. So when we talk about manifestation, I think we use words sometimes when we don't explain it. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Manifesting is taking ownership of
Mm.
your vision
Mhm.
and saying where you want to go, not where someone else wants you to go. Because people always tell you what they want you to do and how they see you.
Mhm.
But where do you see yourself? Don't worry that, you might have alcohol and drug issues, you might have
Mhm.
cancer, you might have, been abandoned, that you may have
Mhm.
been sexually trafficked, whatever your situation is, you can visualize something better.
Mhm. I love that. And let's go back to the fact of you being an author because
Mhm.
you said this is something you've always believed in. You've seen yourself being this way. So for the people who are listening and they see themselves a certain way, but there's
Mhm.
that time in between there, so talk to them about how they manage their time before it becomes a realization so that they keep doing the work that manifests what they believe. Does that question make sense?
It does. And it's interesting that you should ask me that because I did not see it in 2020. I didn't. And I
Mm-hmm.
manifested that, money's going to be attracted to me. My family's going to be healthy. I saw myself maybe going into being a nurse practitioner but
Mm-hmm.
in the end, I always saw myself speaking internationally. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a surgery. In the last 2 years, I had three on my feet. So I had one in January. I was home during most of the first wave, and I
Okay.
was feeling like I really felt that I was letting down my colleagues, the first responders, the
Mm.
nurses and doctors. And I know it sounds
Mhm,
crazy. Whereas my
mhm.
family was like, "Oh, we're so glad you're not out there," and I was feeling bad about it. And I
Right.
said, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and I had bonnet and pearls, and I would go on at 6 o'clock, between 6 and 6:30 every single morning to thank the front line, whether they were a truck driver, cashier,
Mm,
and who knew that I was already putting in the work for
mm,
where I am now. You have to visualize, and I'm going to keep saying that because it's so key, what
mhm,
it is you want. You stop thinking that, it's going to be pretty. You can write it
mhm,
down and it's just going to happen like that, right?
mhm,
And it, no. But when you're putting the work in, who knew someone, Ayana would say, I really want you to be a part of this anthology. And I was like, okay. Because you know what? We met each other a year ago. So it's
wow.
not as though we knew each other, but when we met, she's like, it's like, I know you already. She says, I don't know, I'm going to see you again. And you're like, yeah, okay. I just came to support you with your book
Right.
signing. And a year later, look where we are. When
Mhm.
someone sees something in you,
Mhm.
you may not see it, but you always have to manifest. You have to project what it is that you want. I
I
talk
love
on
that.
my Instagram at Trevis Michelle that your circle has to be tight. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
big. Mine's the size of a Cheerio because I don't invite everybody in. But,
Amen.
the people that are there are supportive. When I
Right.
was writing this book, um, was going through a major breakup. My heart's still healing.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm snotting, I'm crying. I don't want to
Mhm.
write this. Maybe it's not the right time. I literally wanted to back out.
Mhm.
But my circle was like, no, you're not. It
Mhm.
was 2:30 in the morning and I'm up trying to write. And I was like, I can't. I have writer's block. And they were like, okay, just write and read it back to me. See, that's a
Mhm.
tight circle.
Mhm.
They knew that this was my purpose. This is what I needed to do. I had to get my testimony out because I
Mhm.
made a pact, and it's going to sound crazy, but I made a pact with God. I said,
Amen.
God, I don't know where people got this. We always say God is my co-pilot. We have t-shirts and all kind of. I said, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I need you to be in the pilot seat. I
Amen.
I'm done. I can't. I had reached a low, right?
Yeah.
Because I was hurting
Mhm.
emotionally. In my family and stuff was fine. I was feeling that I wasn't doing my part as a nurse because I couldn't go out there.
Mhm.
Yet I wasn't ready. I'm back out there now. But I was like, God, you have to just change. I need change right now. So if you
Mhm.
take over my pilot and have me sitting over, I don't even know that I want a co-pilot, but I'll just be sitting. I'm going to ask for discernment. I'm going to ask that I listen to you.
Mhm.
I will tell everyone that you're the reason that I'm here. I will share my
Amen.
testimony of my traumas to help other Black women, especially, but it's going to help
Mhm.
other people. And when
Amen.
I said that, everything just turned around. So
Mhm.
everybody doesn't have, they don't have a spiritual background. And I'm not pushing that you
Mhm.
have to, but you have to have something to hold on to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have
Absolutely.
to, because
Mhm.
if you don't, you're out there. Um,
Mhm.
just floating around. You're just
Mhm.
swimming and don't know
So
where you're
true.
going. You're like that, right?
So true. And then when every wind blows, you don't know where you're going. You're thrown off course.
Right.
So when you talk about visualization, I think this is good because what makes it a little bit more um what's the word I want to say? Prominent or um I don't know, more easy to obtain rather than doing like a vision board. So, like, because there's a difference between the manifestation, visualizing yourself, and a vision board, because I think a lot of times we kind of go through these phases and trends in the
Right.
society. Oh, we're having a vision party. Everybody's cutting out these things, but visualization is a little bit different. So, did you do vision boards in the past and then you just have a different urge to do something different? Or did you go straight to the manifestation visualization type of process?
Well, my grandparents, before it was popular, taught me about manifestation.
Mm,
So I grew up with that in my household. I
mm,
didn't know anything other. Now, of course, like you said, there are trends. And I'm going to tell you a secret.
mhm,
I never did a vision board. I don't like vision boards. I'm not cutting
mm,
out something, putting it on paper because I'm a minimalist and that's going
mm,
to mess up my style at home. I'm not going to put it on a wall. Where am I? I don't like it, right?
mm,
But I will admit that I do now have a digital vision board.
mm,
See, I can have it on my phone. And
mhm,
I do. I have, there's another author that we're really close, Tiffany Teachy. She's also a co author.
mhm,
And we work well together. And we were like, okay, she's the one who told me about a digital. Because as soon as I heard about that, I was like, I ain't doing that, as well as Dr. Janelle Jones. So I was like, really? But sometimes you have to do different things to have different results, right? You can't keep
amen.
doing the same thing over and over again. So I do have a digital vision board that's on my phone that shows me where I want to be, what I'm going to do, what shows I'm going to be on. However, I don't get
Amen.
caught up in that. right?
Mm.
We can get so caught up into our vision board, we get caught up into journaling. This is why I say I want you to make bullet points for your cons list, because
Mm.
we'll talk about, say it's my dad left me, he abandoned me. So you're going to go write and write and write, and you forgot
Mhm.
that you were upset because you got fired, you went through a divorce,
Mhm.
your girlfriends picked on you, I don't know, but you're
Mhm.
concentrating on that one. The way I'm showing you to put bullet points, you can go
Mhm.
back and do your journaling, but you want to be succinct. You have to be intentional. And I know that's a word
Mm.
that's floating around now too, but it's
Mhm.
really true.
Mhm.
This is chess, not checkers. That's what I always say in my Black
Amen.
Women United
Amen.
High
I
Five, right?
love it. I love it. Chess, not checkers. Okay.
Exactly. And my Denzel Washington voice from Training Day. But I got to give credit where credit's due.
Oh, is that what that's from?
It is.
I love it. I love it. But that's a good word now because it's about the strategy. Okay.
Right.
It's
Thank
about the
you.
strategy. Okay. I love it.
And I
Okay.
only, my foundation, yes, is God. And he
Mhm.
made sure I had two of the best grandparents in the world. And I fight you if you tell me different.
Mhm.
But because I learned to strategize, I've been
Mhm.
able to navigate life. It hasn't been easy,
Mm.
because people look at me now and like, oh my gosh, look what you've accomplished and stuff. And they say, but you're so down to earth. And I'm thinking, well, where else am I supposed to be? On earth, right? I have not changed who I am as a person. You've
Amen.
added another accolade to me, another title. They say we have
Mhm.
the RN has a BSN, MPA, DNP, MSN. I mean, there's so many, but who are you as a person? This is
Right.
about you. It's not about
Mhm.
someone else. And that's where my focus is. It's always going to be on you. We want to,
Mhm.
I talk about going from powerlessness to being powerful, especially
Mhm.
during my divorce. And that's where I awakened that voice that was already there, that powerful voice, but it was
Mhm.
pushed down. But we,
Mhm.
we act as though, one, where the power is hanging off in a corner someplace. No, it's in us. Somebody has
Mhm.
pushed it down within us and taken away our voice. And we have to
Mhm.
get that voice back. And
So
how do
true.
you do that? You have to strategize.
Yeah.
And Black women, we are very good at strategizing. We're very good at pivoting. Everybody acts like, oh,
Mhm.
this pivot, this is a pivot. My grandparents told me, what, somebody didn't have their rent money. You know what they did? They had a rent party in Harlem. They had
Right.
a DJ, everybody brought food, and they charged $5 to get in. Guess what? They got their rent paid. That's
Amen.
pivoting.
Yeah.
So we have to stop making it seem so complicated. And it's
Mhm.
really not. It's just
Mhm.
taking a step at a time. And that's how I wrote my book, a step at a time, a
Mhm.
tear at a time, a
Amen.
scream at a time. But I didn't stop. And
I
that's
love that.
key. Don't stop. No
Mhm.
matter what, don't stop. Because the folks sitting back there telling you, girl, there are a whole lot of people out here that do motivational speaking. They are. And they have really good stuff, but they can't tell my story. They can only tell their
Amen.
story.
Amen. I love it. So I love this whole thing about the circle being tight. So how do you know who's in your circle? So for people that are trying to, they tired of doing the same old thing. They want to
Mhm.
level up in 2021. They want a new attitude. How do they know who to put in their circle?
Well, number one is you. You have to look at yourself. We always want to bring people into our circle,
Mm-hmm.
but we want to make sure we're not toxic. Right? You want to make sure, because you want good folks in your circle, but meanwhile you might be the problem.
Amen.
So once you've taken that time to know, hey, I do have some issues, I have stuff I'm working on, but you're manifesting what it is that you want, you're visualizing what it is that you want, then you know the type of people that you need to have in your life. So those are the type
Mm-hmm.
of people that you bring into your circle. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not something you can rush and do. But
Mm-hmm.
because I'm so much more comfortable with Trevis Michelle, that
Mm-hmm.
I may be a part of organizations, church, etc., and they didn't support me. They didn't even
Mm.
acknowledge me. I'm okay
Mhm.
with that though.
Mhm.
You know why? Because I'm comfortable with who I am. I
Amen.
know how great I am. I know that
Mhm.
what I have to offer is
Mhm.
priceless. So then I
Mhm.
need other women around me who feel that way. And it's just so happened that I do, outside of my family, my children, Sasha, Akil, and Khalid, because I have to always give them credit
Amen.
because you know what? I wouldn't be the woman that I am if it
Yeah.
wasn't that I had them as my children to help build
Amen.
me. And they still push me, believe it or not.
Mhm.
But I have a squad and they're called a Tilted Crown Squad. And it's 9 of us.
Mm.
And we've all been hurt by Black women. We've all
Mm.
befriended people, and then people turn on us because they want to use us because
Mhm.
we want to do well. We want to be supportive of each other. We want that tight circle. But
Mhm.
because of our own insecurities, we were always attracting people that really shouldn't have been in our circle.
Mhm.
And now that we found each other, it's like if one person is down, girl, we're gonna pray for you. We have a prayer warrior.
Mhm.
We're all prayer warriors, but we got one strong prayer warrior, man. Don't let her pray
Amen.
on you. She get you. You know, we support each other when we go live. People are like,
Mm.
how come you have so much engagement? Because we talk once a month. We have a Zoom meeting. In fact, we are going to have we're coming up with a course that's going to teach women how to build a squad. It's
Mm.
funny
I
that you
love
should
that.
ask that. Yeah,
I
we
love that.
so
The
because
great
it's
thing, yeah, great thing for people to know because we always want the success that we
right.
aspire to achieve, but it makes a difference who you're watching,
It
and
does.
what questions you're asking. I love the fact that you said you need to examine yourself. What are you bringing to the circle? You know, so I think that's so great because the inner work we need to do for ourselves, and then it will attract the right kind of people to us. So I love that.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, so talk to us about what is for you in 2021. I mean, you are international speaker, girl. You are international author. What is next in 2021?
But I'm just excited about it. I tell people all the time, 2020, I don't want to cancel it. Absolutely not.
Amen. Amen.
With all of the deaths, and those were precious lives, some of them I worked with. Some were doctors and nurses that I worked with. Some were actually, I lost family in Florida from COVID.
Mm,
Um, with everything, I was still able in 2020 to become a number one international best-selling author of saving
amen.
lives while fighting for mine. Who would have thought
Mm-hmm.
that? Someone would
Mm-hmm.
have told me, what didn't they tell us? Oh, you can't do this. People are always making money. People are always striving to do better. What
Mm-hmm.
are you doing? So if you can't survive this little bump, how are you going to survive 2021 when that is going to be you're going to see the backlash from what happened in
Mm.
2020, right? So for myself, I'm going to go. I am going to be. Because I'm manifesting it. I see it. I am going to be on different public arenas speaking. I see
Praise
myself on
God.
television. I have an ebook that's coming out because I want to just do not something like 1,000 pages. You need short ebooks to say, hey, what are the steps that I need to do to be an empowerment builder of
Amen.
myself, right?
Amen.
I'm empowering and building you, but how do you do that for yourself? Because I've
Amen.
been through sexual traumas, I've been through domestic traumas. I was bullied.
Mm-hmm.
I have I could go on and on. I don't
Mm-hmm.
look like my struggle. So
Amen.
I know that I am going to have a large impact
Mm-hmm.
on the world in 2021, on other
Amen.
Black women in 2021, and they're going to
Mm-hmm.
gravitate towards me.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So this is and so I guess in closing, I would say when we're humble, a lot of people watching, they're like, man, I know that, I'm confidently about what I can bring to the table, but I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or tooting my own horn. So advise them as they move forward in a strategic manner for 2021, how they balance that humility with being assertive about their skills.
I'm going to go back to it again. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be comfortable in your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not completely comfortable in your own skin yet.
Mhm.
You have to be confident in who you are. My
Right.
grandmother said, I don't want you to be humble that you're bent over. And and I'm going to talk about the Black community because I can,
Mhm.
because I'm Black. When
Mhm.
we're always saying, oh my gosh, don't, always be humble. But when you're being humble, that means we're being walked on. That means that we're just giving, giving, giving and getting nothing in return. Not, and
Mhm.
not that you always give and expect something in return, but no, that's okay. Forgive, and turn the other cheek, and you're bent over. My
Mhm.
grandmother says, I want you to be humble, but it's more important that you're gracious.
Mm.
Why? If I tell you, girl, I love that top and look at that, then you'll tell me, well, I bought this old thing about 5 years ago and it was down in TJ Maxx. Instead of saying, thank you.
Right.
And if you're not going to stand up and praise yourself, why should you expect anybody else to?
Mhm.
Why should they? And I'm not
Yes.
talking about, there people get caught up in, oh, I don't want anybody to think that, I'm thinking too highly of myself. Why shouldn't you think highly of yourself? I spent my whole life thinking that, oh, I don't want to
Right.
say anything. I'm not good enough. Then we're passed over promotions and saying, why was I passed over for a promotion? And the other people got it because the other people knew their worth. Even if they weren't as good, they still let you know that they were worthy.
So true.
So we have to work on that. I think you need to spend time with yourself. And when
Mhm.
you have a goal, Oprah, we know her story. We know
Mhm.
Maya Angelou's story. But did it
Mhm.
stop them?
Right.
No. They still
Right.
had to say, but I'm worthy. I know what my worth is. I know what I have to offer. And you're
Mhm.
going to listen. Black woman, it is time for us to stop trying to sit at everybody else's table, make our own table, and invite who we want to sit at our table and feel good about
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, and I love that, and I think, this is I thought that was gonna be the last question, but here's another one. So, you have this strong foundation. You know who you are, and you know where you wanna go. You have the power of
Mhm.
manifestation. Talk to us about getting the help that we need through a business coach. How do you find that coach? How did you even, because I think there's that element of taking what you have, you want
Mhm.
something else, but it's like, well, let me just do this. And if you get a coach, you can get it done so much faster or whatever. But,
Right.
you know, talk to us about that mindset about, pursuing a coach. And how do you know? How did you know which one?
Well, due to COVID and having all that time sitting at home on online and going through now, what am I doing? I'm looking at Instagram. I'm
Mhm.
finding out so much. I didn't know Instagram has opened up a whole new world for me.
Mhm.
And so did Facebook, because working as
Mhm.
an RN, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time on my internet. But
Amen.
when you have a drive, when you have a purpose, you do need help. I
Mm.
always say we want to say we're self-made. No, I'm God made, because
Amen.
God is going to bring people that I need into my life. Ayana Mills Gallo,
Mhm.
she is I call her my writing coach, because
Mhm.
she can take you step by step how to write your book, how to become a number one international best-selling author. But you have to be open to learning. In terms of my business coach, because you do need different types of coaches, King Ashley Ann, I met her because Kim Coles had captivating conversations. And I was like, it's 25 people, women mostly. I think it was only one man. And it's free. And they're going to talk for a week. I had nothing to do, I had no place to go. And I found King Ashley Ann, and King Coles talked about being, because she's also a business coach, but she says you have to find what's your style. There are different styles.
Mm.
Someone who is going to be maybe um, not as spicy as King Ashley Ann, that may not work for me, because I'm outspoken. ER trauma is my background. So I'm pretty
Mm.
blunt. And I'm from New York City. So I speak my mind. I need you to tell me, don't waste a whole lot of my time. Get to the point. Okay. That's what I
Right.
need. But you
Mhm.
also have to know to invest in yourself. Because I
Mm.
was one, I would tell you, I would be like, I'm not paying for that. I'll
Mhm.
figure it out. I would still be figuring it out. I didn't know anything about the background work, just like being a podcast. You don't know
Yeah.
what goes into it. When we come on here, I got my good wig on, you know what I'm saying? I got my background going. Girl, I just be telling it. I know I'm sitting up here all yes, and I'm talking. You don't know that I had a 2-year-old that I had to say, "Oh, can you sit there and play with him?" And he's in the background. The dog wants to bark. I had to make sure now freshen up my lipstick. I'm trying to, there was a lot going on. My light in the background. Oh my gosh, make sure it's my phone charged. We don't know the background work that had to go in it. So when
So
you have a
true.
business coach, they prepare you. So when you go
Amen.
on my Instagram page at Trevis Michelle and you see my tree, it's an easy tree.me, built by who?
Mm,
It's a Black woman who is a web developer, and she created her own app. And I was like, I
mm,
didn't know that. I just see people put I didn't even know what a bit.ly link was. I didn't know what
mhm.
a tree was. But because I had a business coach, I didn't have to take as many bumps in the
Amen.
road. So I
Amen.
know a lot of people like, I have my little side gig. Your side gig can become your main gig. But if you don't change your mindset, if you don't
Mhm.
start do some work on the inside and be open to
Mhm.
learning, because that's part of being humble. It's not
Amen.
just, it's being open and receptive and saying,
Hey.
"Oh, I want to learn, and I might have to pay a couple ducats." Because I was like,
Amen.
"Wait a minute, wait a minute now, wait a minute." But in the end, your return on investment is great.
So true. I love that. And I mean, that's a mic drop right there because, we get in our own way, and it's
Yes.
like if you want to keep um, dealing with pennies, that's what you're going to end up with if you stay in that same mindset, keep doing the same thing. You just don't get dollars from pennies if you just dealing with
Right.
that every day. If you want dollars, you're going to have to level up because the people that are going to pay that require a different thing than what you're doing you know
Right. Right.
automation that's costs money. You might have a message, but if you want to automate it, that's going to cost some money in order for you to reach certain people, so you just got to get out of that. I love that. These
Right.
are some great tips. So what is you've I love how you've even sprinkled your website, the name of your book. I mean, you got it going on, girl. But what's the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
Please follow, not follow, because we don't have followers on the Queen's Court. On Instagram, I am Trevis Michelle. And the reason I say that, and I know everybody calls us, "Oh, we're followers, we're followers." Remember, I say words are powerful. So when
Amen.
you're part of the Queen's Court, you are a leader who knows when to follow,
Mm.
because your best leaders know when to step back.
Get down, girl. I love it.
You can also reach me on via my email at info@trevismichelle.com.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this has just been wonderful. I am so glad. I hope y'all were taking notes. I couldn't write everything down. I was over here trying to do a few, but I am definitely going to go back and listen to this again. So we want to thank you guys for joining us. But what final words do you want to leave us with today?
I want to share with all people, but especially my Black queens. I need you to dream bigger than your thoughts and let your thoughts be bigger than your dreams.
Love that. That is just great. Look, y'all need to contact Trevis Michelle, look her up, get her book, find out how you can connect with her because this is important to make sure that you're in the right company so that you can transform that mindset, overcome some of those limiting beliefs, begin to acquire those things that you're
Mhm.
trying to manifest by being in the right company. So, thank you again so much, Trevis, for being on today. And we just support you on whatever it is that you're doing. Thank you so much for your service and being a first responder, especially now when a lot of people are really kind of at their wits' end. Some people just have lost hope, just because of a virus and things like that. So we just want to thank you for all that you're doing to help those that are out there and affected. And thank everybody for watching, and we will see y'all on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.